One of the things we're going to talk about off the top is, of course, we all know James Gunn, who is going to save the comic book universe. He is what are the Montagues and whatever? Who is it in
the Capulets and the Montagues?
The Capulets and the Montagues, the McCoys and the Hatfields and McCoys. He's bringing universes together by directing both a Marvel film and a DC film, pretty much one right after the other. It's an amazing time to be alive. So he's doing his little Suicide Squad movie. Now, some pictures came out a couple of days ago. Looked a little cheesy, but normally superhero costume stuff looks pretty damn cheesy in behind the scenes sneak leaked videos. That's always happened, so I'm not worried about that. But James Gunn was asked about the kind of time he's having doing this, and he said this is actually the most fun he's ever had making a movie. He said the following. He said they're all challenging, talking about the movies that he's made. Super was physically brutal, so much movie and so little time to shoot it. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 was scary because I didn't know if people would get the vibe. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was the hardest because of my mental state. The Suicide Squad, though, is the most complex and the biggest, but also the most fun so far. Listen to what he says there. He said it's the most complex, and I don't know about you guys, but when I think of Suicide Squad, complex is not one of the words that comes to my mind. Now, I like the first Suicide Squad movie, I do, but it's a bit of a hot mess, and complex is not a word you would use to describe it. He's also saying it is the biggest film he's done so far. What? Really? The guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy #1 and Guardians of the Galaxy #2, and he's saying this is the biggest film they've done so far? All right. And he's also saying this is the most fun he's had doing a movie so far. Which is interesting to note because when you think about the guys over Marvel, they always normally seem like they're all having just a blast making their movies. But I think, look, what is a director supposed to say about the movie he's currently making? Yeah, this is nothing compared to my other stuff, but it's a paycheck. I mean, what's he supposed to say? But still, James Gunn has not been one to, just spin a lot of PR nonsense. He seems to be having a really good time. And listen, I was already excited, Rob, for this particular movie. I was already stoked about it just because I liked the first one, but you add James Gunn to it, all the things that it represents. Hearing these comments increases my excitement for it a little bit. What do you think? Is this, who cares? He's the director of the film. What else is he supposed to say? Or do you find this exciting, the things he's saying?
No, I think it's exciting because he's going to bring to the Suicide Squad what I think it needed in the first place. Which is a little bit more of that James Gunn vibe, whatever that is. Because, David Ayer, like the guy who wrote Training Day, while I like him a lot, End of Watch I thought was a great film.
Fury was awesome. I love Fury.
Fury was great too. And I think Suicide Squad needs a little bit more of tongue-in-cheek. They tried to make it that way. It was kind of a hot mess in post, and as you know, I'm not a big fan of that movie. But I think even looking at those costumes, I'm sure that's a plot point. Like, those costumes are not exactly, they didn't work out. The characters are probably doing some kind of I don't know what they were doing, but I'm sure things change as the movie moves along, and I can't wait to see where that goes. But I believe him. I think he's probably having a ball because, look, he went through the ringer after what happened to him. And it's like getting back onto a set after he almost got canceled, and he had to fight his way back, and he came back. And I mean, I'm sure there's part of it. He's elated to be back on a set, and we're all going to be better for it eventually. But I love hearing him talk this way.
Chris, you read these comments. What do you think about him?
I mean, hearing that this is the most fun coming from a guy who has his roots in trauma entertainment, that's exciting in itself. Most complex, though, I'm thinking that's mostly just the herding cats of it all. Have you seen that cast list?
It's a huge list.
That poster with the columns and rows of names. It's an Excel spreadsheet. There's so many people. But it makes me really happy that he's having such a good time here. And while it might be PR, James Gunn, he's kind of rock and roll. I think he'd tell us if things weren't going great in a subtle way. He wouldn't say this is the most fun if he didn't mean it, is how I feel about it.
I take it the same way. Question is, what do you guys think of James Gunn's comments? I mean, look, understand again, he's a director directing a movie. Is he going to come out and say, man, this is just not going the way I had hoped? I mean, what else is he supposed to say? But I get some enthusiasm out of it. What do you guys think about it? Jump into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.